I recently took a trip to the Netherlands and rented a Hyundai Kona and drove all over the country, from down south in Maastricht all the way up to and beyond Amsterdam. I did all in all about 1,100 kilometres, and up until this point, the only countries where I had rented a car and driven all over the place were Italy and Malta. So this is what someone who's used to driving in southern Europe thought of driving around in the Netherlands, in northwestern Europe. Now I'll start off with the motorways. They were great. They were long and straight, and really they went everywhere. They were in good condition. Unlike the French motorways, which depend on the weather, if it's raining, you can only do 110 kph. If it's sunshine, you can do 130. In the Netherlands, if it's between 6 in the morning and 7 in the afternoon, you can only do 100 kph, whereas between 7 in the afternoon and 6 in the morning, you can do 120 kph. I did find the Dutch to be actually rather good drivers. They didn't stick to the speed limit, but then again, no one does in any country anywhere, at least as far as I can tell. They also kept good discipline. To overtake, they just moved into the, was it outside lane, inside lane? I keep forgetting because I don't live in England. And they overtake, and then they went back into the lane where all the lorries were. However, when someone did f up, which was rare, but it did happen, it stuck out like a sore thumb. Completely unlike Southern Europe, where everyone's always f***ing up the whole time. In fact, when you're driving in Southern Europe, you have to assume that everyone else on the road is either stupid, a maniac, or both. There's only one thing I didn't like about the motorways in the Netherlands, is that you would go for miles and miles and miles and miles with it just being 2 lanes, but then when you got near some larger city, then the lanes would multiply. They'd go from 2 to about 8 in a very short amount of time, and if you didn't have your wits about you, you'd lose your exit. And thank God for SatNav. The SatNav really saved my bacon on Dutch motorways more than once. So that pretty much sums up Dutch motorways. But there was one rather interesting story that happened to me in a motorway service station. I stopped for coffee, and there was this bloke in front of me, a bald bloke, who was chatting to some Dutch ladies, but gesticulating a lot. Anyway, I thought he knew them. Turns out he didn't. He was just some crazy person. And then he turned around and began talking to me. I let him know that I didn't speak fluent Dutch, and so he said, "Oh, you're from England. Brexit." And I said, "No, let's not talk about that." And he said, "Oh, I'm sorry. He began showing me his tattoos. He began telling me how the Pope was a f***up, and that he wished he could fuck the Pope up himself. His words, not mine. Yeah, that was a bit weird. Then he said he was sorry and he didn't mean to scare me, and he buggered off back to his Renault Capture. However, the thing that scared me the most wasn't exactly the fact that he told me he wanted to do something bad to the Pope or anything like that. It was the fact that he got into his car and drove off. So basically, I was sharing the road with some weirdo who was drugged to his eyeballs. So anyway, that's enough about Gregory. We'll go on to the other roads. You've got A roads all over the Netherlands. We call them A roads in the UK. You can call them national roads in the rest of Europe, and also confuse them with smaller municipal roads as well. But anyway, all of these roads were usually very straight and very narrow as well. And you'd have a central lane where cars would normally go along. You'd drive along that lane, then you'd shift to the side if a car was coming another way. And those outside parts of the lanes were cycling lanes. And that would play havoc with the car's lane departure warning system. However, what was really interesting is that you always had some kind of bike lane parallel to the main road. And even at night, it could be the dead of night, you see bicycles zipping up and down. And I just think that's brilliant. You're all watching this channel. You know I'm a car guy. I love cars, but I also love the fact that if you want to, you can leave your pride and joy at home, resting because you don't want to take it out and get it dirty or something, and just ride a bike somewhere. That'd be brilliant. I can't do that where I live, but I would like to. But anyway, I did encounter some crazy people who try to overtake me in weird places, but it was usually before those crossings, because you've got these crossings in the Netherlands that have these sort of speed bumps, and people just like drive over them as if they were driving Citroens with hydropneumatic suspension, which they weren't. Speaking of Citroens with hydropneumatic suspension, let's get on to the subject of cars on Dutch roads, the kind of cars you can find. I think the attitude that the Dutch have in relation to cars is very varied. There's no particular brand that stands out above the others. For example, if you go to Spain, you see lots of Seat. If you go to Italy, you're going to see lots of Fiats. If you go to Germany, you're going to see lots of German cars, that sort of thing. Of course, the Dutch really don't have their own car industry. But if they did, it would probably be something that would be linked to Volvo because, you know, DAF was bought by Volvo. I would have thought I would have seen lots and lots of Volvos, but I didn't. They seem to love their VW ups and such, small chic cars of that sort. And also Teslas, I saw lots of them. But I also saw some other weird things. And as I mentioned just earlier, I was talking about Citroens and hydropneumatic suspension. I saw this fantastic CX come towards me near a town named Lissa, and I thought, oh my God, yes, I'm finally seeing a great car. And further on, there was actually this wonderful Citroen Specialist. Look what I saw, a blue SM, and behind it, an even bluer AX. And then there's that glorious little Pluriel. Yes, I like Citroen C3 Pluriels. I really do. I think they're great. And you see there's anti-air, but of course there was that Citroen CX Safari on the ramp, the sky blue colour, just like the one my dad had in the early 80s. I was very happy to see that. Yeah, this is my sister in front of our blue Citroen CX Safari, an early 70s one, as you can see from the badge on the back. If I could just stick to Citroens just for a bit more, I saw this fantastic DS Safari in the centre of Amsterdam. I also saw this DS, maybe as someone's daily car. I kind of doubt it. It was Friday night. They're probably on their way to some classic car meetup. I also stumbled upon a classic car dealer. Now, I thought this was a motoring museum, but it wasn't. Now, you can see this MG, and it was parked next to this amazing Corvette Stingray. Personally, I like the one with the split rear screen, but yeah, let's not split hairs. There's another blue one on the inside next to a Dodge Viper. Outside, an old Renault 11 and a, this Lancia. I don't know what the Lancia model is, but someone's going to tell me. Just driving through the Netherlands, you saw these weird and wonderful things. I saw this great American land yacht parked in a small town where we went shopping. I saw this, was it Dodge Ram with a 5.7 litre Hemi V8. I did see a lot of these kinds of American trucks all over the place. The Dutch seem to like them a lot. I saw this weird Jeep at a petrol station. Yeah, Dutch car culture is alive and well, and it's very vibrant, and I love it. And I really loved driving in the Netherlands. Dutch people, thank you very much for having me, and you've got a very nice country now. I enjoyed driving through your country very much indeed. And you've got a beautiful countryside. Anyway, so that's my experience of driving across the Netherlands. It was absolutely brilliant. I hope to do it again someday, actually. Although, to be very honest, I would like to do it in my own car, my own C5 X7 Tourer. That would be a dream come true. So, if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you leave a like. I hope you subscribe. And I bid you farewell.